Can the committee's proceedings continue? The CJ has indicted them. She says every step of the way, every bit of anything they have done has broken the law. And she's going to continue to appear before them for the process to continue. Can you imagine that?
Good morning, Samson. Good morning.
Good morning, Senior.
Yes, Socrates once said that the law is reason free from passion. You see, so what are we looking at here? A committee has been established under Article 146, not under an act of parliament, but under the supreme law of the land. You have submitted yourself. If you complain that the committee is breaching your human rights, what does the Constitution say? If you go to Article 33,
go to the High Court.
You go to the High Court.
She has gone to the High Court.
And you see, for me, she's not setting any good example for anybody to follow. She's a Chief Justice. She must vindicate, validate, respect, and make sure the law works in our country.
When her rights and human rights are being violated, she says every step.
You see, she only composed one-sided story for the public to hear. Did you hear the side of the committee? Did you hear the side of the committee? You don't go to the public to present an ongoing case. You are seeking to do politics. You are seeking to prejudice the outcome of the case, which to me is not constitutional. It is not lawful. It is wrongful for her to do that. That is my candid opinion. It's very wrong.
So my question is, can the process continue now? She will appear before them, her peers again, yeah?
Of course. The process was established under the Constitution. The Constitution is the highest law of the land. Nobody is above the Constitution. So what the Constitution says is what everybody must follow. Since the procedure was done under the Constitution, it must go on. One person cannot terminate the process. The process must go on. And in my opinion, it must go on and go on to the end.
So she said this. She said, I have chosen to honor the process set in place to hear the petitions, but I do not choose to hide from the nation that perversion of law, rules, and due process, as well as all as we all know it, are driving the proceedings, and this renders the proceedings unconstitutional. I choose to trust that such darkness will not totally engulf this nation. She actually said that by the manner in which they are going, witnesses are picked and chosen anyhow, documents are picked and chosen anyhow, and she doesn't even know which of the petitions they are holding, which of the responses and which of the documents she submitted they are holding. And she says that she could submit herself to the process to the end, but they could just, as it were, by some magic, whip up something somewhere and find her guilty. That's what she's saying. This process has already condemned her even before it started. You say the process can continue this way?
Thompson, she chose a convenient public forum to ventilate her perception and her side of the case. The committee, we all know, cannot also come to the public and respond to her. And she also knows that. And I believe that is why she chose the forum that she chose to go and ventilate the information that she gave out to the public. In my opinion, one party cannot decide that my interpretation of a court's proceedings or a committee's proceedings is going against the law. So I want the public to know we need two sides of the coin. We need to see the two sides to be able to make an informed decision. I will not accept her one-sided information accusations that she made to make an informed decision on this matter.
And why shouldn't the committee speak? And why shouldn't the committee speak? They can get a spokesperson to also speak for them.
I don't believe in that because they are working within the confines of a constitutional provision. I don't think the Constitution has provided or made any provision elsewhere that they could come out and speak before the termination or conclusion of their work. There is nothing in the law that says that. And I wouldn't even advise that they do that.
She makes a point also that it is not as if she's the first to bring these matters public, as in the content of the petitions. You know, she took us through each of the petitions and showed how they are frivolous. Some of them are actually on the basis of her immunity, and yet they are still being heard. She's saying that this is already out there in the public, so she's actually not the one who is doing it.
I think she should advance all these arguments before the committee or a court of law. As a Chief Justice, she's supposed to set a good example. You think everybody who is before a court or a committee should be doing this? We will end up having chaos. Even, excuse me my language, in the animal kingdom, the common law, they use common sense. Common sense and order prevails there. If you are not happy with proceedings of a committee that is trying you or investigating or going into allegations against you, you don't come to the public to make disparaging remarks about committee members, about the constitution of the committee, the workings of the committee. In the first place, the workings of the committee is in camera. Why do you come out to come and expose the matters there? Why don't you go to court? Are we the court of law?
What is disparaging about speaking to the facts?
For instance, she made disparaging comments about Justice Puaman.
How?
He accused him of bias when the man was not there to respond to it. Is that not disparaging? She accused him of so many things. And that was wrong. She didn't speak to the issues, in my opinion, on that issue. You see, so we should not allow parties who appear before the court, parties who appear before committees or commissions of inquiry to come to the public and distort information for purposes of winning public sympathy. It is wrong.
She says that the senior police officer in his petition, she says the senior police officer in his petition is even citing Puaman as a potential witness. So there's conflict of interest. Is that disparaging?
That one has to be determined by an independent umpire, not herself. She can make the allegation, but she has to make it at the appropriate forum, not in the public.
This is the forum, she says. Look, she's a judge of a lawyer of over 30 years standing. She's a judge of over 20 years standing. And she says that for all her life, nobody can accuse her of having taken a bribe, not once. And she says that, listen to her, she says, so what if these current proceedings are being carefully staged to result in my removal as a Chief Justice, even if there is no lawful justification? All I have stated shows that any such actions would have been done on the basis of lies and violations of law and due process. As a career judge who has served under 4 different presidents from High Court, Court of Appeal, and Supreme Court, I could never have imagined such irregularities possible if I had not personally encountered it. I am also a mother and a grandmother who must hope for better than this for our nation. It's rule of law and democracy. It's rule of law and democracy. On my part, I choose to respect His Excellency's warrant of suspension and so on and so forth. So she's telling you that in the end, this could all be staged just to remove her willy-nilly. She's pointing to Parliament. Justice Akabuafo, there was a petition against his nomination. The parliamentarians looked at the provision of the law, plain on its face, and said the accusation you are making is about the judge's judicial duties. Those ones, you cannot bring them before us. They threw the petition out. She's saying, why is it that matters that I sat on with Puaman, with Adibu and all the rest, you are still bringing him here to answer?
You see, Samson, when matters of fact are pleaded on a document, the court or the umpire or the arbiter is not to conclude based on the matters of fact alone. The court or the umpire will decide the matters based on evidence.
Right.
So have they finished with the proceedings? Have they finished with taking evidence? Has she presented her evidence in her defense? What she is doing, what she has done, and what she continues to do, is it sanctioned by any law? You can talk about free speech, but when you are before a committee or you are before a court, do you have the right to come out and preempt and prejudice the outcome of the case before the court? Do you do that? Are you allowed to do that?
Can you imagine?
Talking about bribery and corruption, has she been charged with any form of corruption or bribery?
Because she says nobody can ever accuse her of one.
Yes, but that will not deflect from the fact that you have abused your office.
But how is that even corruption?
You see, when you have abused your office, when you have misconducted yourself in an office and an allegation has been made against you and there is an ongoing proceedings, I think you should exercise patience. Present your defense.
So
present all the defense.
Finally, Musa, she's raising some important matters. She says that this group, by name Shining Stars, one of the petitioners, is a group. The name is Shining Stars.
Yes.
She says they have checked at the Registrar General. That group is not known to have registered as any entity.
It's not a fair legal point before the proceedings.
Is it not a point to make?
No, but capacity.
You see, Samson, please. You see, this is a matter that she has come to tell us. Okay? And has the committee ruled on it? Has she presented an argument before the committee? And has the committee deliberated on that issue and come to a definitive conclusion for her to come to the public to seek justice? This is her own side of the matter. I think we should take our time to respect the law. We should respect the Constitution. We should respect the proceedings until the outcome.
Okay. Senior Musa Ahmed, thank you very much. She says it should be inquisitorial rather than adversarial. I wrote an article in 2018 after I led the process in the removal of Loretta Lamte. Not the Supreme Court, that's Charlotte Osei representing Kokubako. And I remember there were situations where I had to urge on the committee. Justice Eni Yeboah was chairing it, Justice Benin were there, Mariama Owusu. And I had to urge them that they should take an inquisitorial posture rather than adversarial, like prove your case or walk out. And we had actually obtained certain evidences, and then the source of the custody of our evidence was being questioned. And they were trying to rule some of them out, that we didn't get them from proper custody. And we're insisting that we're actually helping them. They should be inquisitorial. They should go and help find these things. Is it not right that it should be inquisitorial rather than adversarial?
That is why I'm saying that for me, she has only come to give one-sided part of the case to the public. I'm not going to accept that until I have read the full ruling of the committee or the committee's report. I'm not going to accept that. You see, a party should not be coming to the public to determine how a procedure should be formulated. In fact, if you are before the court, the judge is not even bound to accept the submission of counsel as to how the proceedings should be conducted. That is the law. You don't go and impose your own view of how the procedure should be conducted to a court to accept it. It doesn't work like that.
Petitioners are being allowed not to testify, so they choose witnesses. She must be worried.
But do we have this information ourselves? Do we have this information ourselves? When you read the entire statement she made, the formulation she made about a lodge has been debunked. So how do you know that the other legs of the allegations she made are true?
Imagine it were true that the witnesses.
I will not imagine anything in law.
At least we are discussing on the presumption that what she has said, she's saying is true. We can't.
You see, she's entitled to justice. Yes. I agree with you. She's entitled to justice, fairness. If indeed the committee is abusing her right, I will not say they are doing it. If it is true that they are abusing her right, then I will urge them to conform to the law.
If she hadn't told you, how will you be urging them to conform to the law?
Well, that's why I'm saying that the committee is just like a court. It's not different from the court. You may be looking at it from other principles, right, but essentially, it is not a different version of a court.
Okay.
Yes, and she has to present her case there. She cannot come to other third parties.
Thank you.
Anybody, you see, if the case was going well for her, would she come and complain?
Musa Ahmed, thank you very much. And